Hello everybody! Now Jaguar's actions over the last couple of weeks have been a little bit controversial to say the least, but I wanted to be able to see the car before passing any judgments. Now what I think about the rebrand may surprise you a little bit, but let's start with the concept and afterwards I'll tell you my thoughts on Jaguar's new logo and of course that video. So the Type 00. Well, I do think that it has enough design cues to link it to Jags of the past. The wide rear haunches, that long bonnet, they both bring to mind a feline about to spring. So first impressions are pretty good. Lines seem to be a big part of the new design language. So the front grille, the scuttle, the rear grille, the interior and the badge on the side all feature them. The glasshouse looks a bit like a helmet visor, and with those big arches, it's a really impactful car. But there are 5 things that I'm not too sure about. So functionally, what is that long bonnet doing there? I think it kind of suits the overall design, but with this being an exclusively electric car, there's no need for that room for an engine. The interior doesn't look that big either. Now, could it be that maybe they want to put more batteries up front? I really doubt that. Most batteries now are put right in the floors of the car. I couldn't imagine that this new platform would be any different. So a bit of a bizarre choice in there. Could it be that Jag is maybe aiming or keeping its options open for an engine in the future? I just can't see it though. Now the glasshouse looks great from the outside, but it's very small in proportion to the rest of the car. I think that's going to make for a really oppressive interior. Also, there's no sign of wood or leather, which is unsurprising, and I guess if you're looking at the future, that's okay. But things like, I think it's travertine stone that features in there, that's quite a surprising design element. All the same, that interior is very much prototype, and I don't expect very much of it to survive in the production car. There's no rear screen. The benefits of that are well known. Essentially, you get a stiffer car, which is also lighter and cheaper to produce. But I find it very odd that although there's no glass there, there does still seem to be a panel of some kind. I don't know if they're envisaging having an openable tailgate or something of that kind, but either way, that's going to get in the way of the smooth airflow and it's going to compromise stiffness and therefore increase weight. So very bizarre. I'll wait until the finished car is out, but odd to see that in this prototype. Now we've already mentioned that lines are a big part of the design of this car, and indeed at the back you have a huge rear grille that also incorporates the stop lights and indicators. I think it looks great, and indeed I think the whole car looks best from the back and the rear 3/4, but the way that is designed cannot go through into production because indicators have to be seen from the side of the car. If you look at the concept, that's not going to be happening here. It's quite an aggressive car with very big wheels and tyres, which is a little bit at odds with the efficiency associated with electric cars. Being high-end though, I understand that. Now this car is supposed to be about 2 years from for being on sale and 1 year from us seeing the full production version. They have said at this point that range will be 430 miles, which sounds great, especially with those big wheels and all the design elements. But that would be great right now. By 2026, when it's supposed to come out, I don't think it's going to sound anywhere near as impressive. And finally, the colours. Now, Miami pink and London blue. Miami pink is just bizarre, I guess because it's been launched at Miami Art Week, they're trying to sort of, it's all part of the overall plan. All the same, it feels like that is just another punch in the eye to traditionalists. They also included London blue. Now, I don't know what there is which is blue about London. I've never associated the city with blue, so I think maybe that's just a desperate attempt to try and show that they are keeping a British link with the mark. Having said that, I think they both look great. Even the pink, I do think looks really, really good. But let's now talk a little bit about the video and the logo. My take on those might surprise you a little bit. First, the video. Everybody seems to have hated it, but where I differ from most others is that I think to blame Jaguar is to miss the point. The rebrand is merely reflective of the society that we live in today. Let me explain. While Land Rover has been performing well, Jaguar has seen declining sales for years, so something clearly had to change. In the past, cars signified modernity and freedom. They were overwhelmingly positive concepts. But for modern generations, they are linked to pollution and environmental damage. In this context, you can understand why Jaguar, at least in part, might want to move away from its heritage. I didn't like the video either, but it seems that I am not the type of person that Jaguar is trying to impress. You may not like what they are doing, but Jaguar is just responding to the new norms and values that our society has adopted. It's a bit unfair to blame them for that. That doesn't mean that I agree with everything they've done. As a matter of fact, I think they could have done things rather differently. On a purely aesthetic level, for example, I just do not like that new logo. It doesn't fit in with me. Then there's what they call the monogram, which I think is the badge that goes on the wheels. Now, it looks very jewel-like, but is that necessarily a good thing? It's also, to me anyway, completely undistinctive. It could signify absolutely anything. There is no link at all with Jaguar, which I guess maybe they wanted to achieve, but I can't see how it was wholly necessary. Secondly, although I understand the pressures that have led to this rebrand and this new attitude for Jaguar, I think that they could have done it without alienating every single one of their previous buyers. Now, Jerry McGovern, who is their creative director, made a big song and dance at the Miami launch about how William Lyons, the founder of Jaguar, said that Jaguar should copy nothing. It should be different. It should be a clean sheet design. But at the same time, he kept on referring back to that to justify what they are doing. Not just that, but he brought up the previous gem, which is the E-Type, as justification about how doing something completely different is the way to go.
Controversy has always surrounded British creativity when it's been at its best.
Really? I don't think there was much controversy when the E-Type was first launched. Everybody just flat out adored it, in contrast with the Type 00. Sure, the XJS, which he also talks about, that was controversial, but I don't think that was an out-and-out success for Jaguar. Sure, I love them now as classic cars, but at the time, they weren't exactly a huge sales success or universally adored.
David Bowie, Vivienne Westwood, and architect Richard Rogers were some of my creative heroes.
Of course, I love David Bowie. Vivienne Westwood, I'm a little bit less of a fan of, but you can see where they're coming from with this rebrand when they're talking about things like that. The whole car world is moving away from cars. Cars are not great anymore. Therefore, they are being rebranded. They're trying to whitewash them with something else. Whether that's something that really has to be done or not is, I don't know, is something that maybe you can tell me. I'm just not sure. Things do definitely have to change. Certainly this relaunch hasn't exactly been well received, but he hints in his speech that the outrage was all part of the plan.
Getting attention in today's world is not always easy, and I assume all of you and those following from around the world may have read a thing or two about the new Jaguar brand. And we're delighted to have your attention.
I'm not entirely sure that it was. Sure, he has got people talking, but all the same, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. But there was and is a real possibility of Jaguar dying out. I think the next 5 years will tell us if McGovern and other senior Jag executives were right or not. Does the prototype reassure you, or do you think that Jag is done for? Let me know your thoughts. Look forward to seeing you for the next video.